don't you try
Please
to
don't.
No,
Please don't.
please don't.
He's
God
getting
damn.
he's getting wise to you, Nico.
I am. All right.
Not very
So,
hard.
Sure. Let's call it
Come
that.
on.
I'm not making fun of myself. It's the same shit over and over again. I'm surprised I didn't catch up before.
all right, guys. Well, welcome everybody to the Digmcast for the 21st of April, 2015. Forgot
Dimebot
one.
cockblocked me.
I'm Dimebot. I'm joined by Nico Kit Wolf,
Hello.
Mike Matrix,
Good evening.
Lone Samurai,
Yeah, hello.
and the Yellow Ranger, saving the best for last.
Hello. I was gonna say, what am I last, man?
So, we're going to do kind of changing the format of the show a little bit. We're going to do less topics but longer discussions, so because we thought it went really well last show. But first, tonight, I want to talk about, or not talk about, ask everybody what they've been playing since the last show. Mike, start us off.
I've been playing the demo of Titan Souls, which looks amazing, and I'm probably gonna get it because it's so my game. Like, holy shit.
You and I are of very different opinions on it. I played the demo and didn't care for it.
I love the demo. For those of you who don't know, it's like this really pixel art styled with really amazing soundtracks and like this sort of open worldish feel, but still not open world game that evolves around essentially just boss fights. Like you get boss fights after boss fights, and like you're the main character with like you have only one arrow, but you can like shoot the arrow and pull it back to you. And like that mechanic alone is absolutely fantastic, in my opinion. Like there's those boss battles aren't really like dodge around the bullets and just smash its face with a fuck ton of bullets. Like you have to actually time it correctly and like execute. It's more like a puzzle in a way.
It's an interesting game. It's a beautiful game. I like the aesthetic. I love the music. The gameplay hook didn't compel me. What else have you been up to?
I've been playing a lot of Guild Wars.
I know you have.
A lot.
For a
other
large
than that,
majority of the
League of Legends.
hosts, it's Guild Wars and League for you. Nico?
I've been playing a lot of Guild Wars.
You've been playing other stuff too. You don't play
I love
Guild
how you
Wars.
sound so innocent.
This is like a
when-
Guild Wars AA meeting.
It is. What else have you been playing?
Hi, I'm Ranger.
Honestly, I've been playing Smite. That's literally just those two games because at the moment that's all I've been in the mood to do.
Fair enough. Ranger?
I've been playing a lot of Binding of Isaac. I'm up to like 96 hours now or something.
You need help.
Rebirth, not vanilla. It's addictive. Destiny, of course.
Of course.
And the new ESO and Guild Wars, but the ESO that you don't have to pay for anymore.
Sub free. And
Sub-free.
you did a long stream on it on Saturday, and thank you for that message in Skype. That will happen whenever I accidentally mouse through the Skype window. Anyways, ESO. You did a long stream with Predicted Cyborg, and it looked fun. My major problem with the game, we talked about on the stream, was always that I didn't feel like paying the sub fee for it.
But now you don't have to pay the sub fee anymore, so hooray! I did though. Listen, I have craftiness. I paid for the first month subscription because even though you don't have to anymore, you get an EXP boost and the same number of crowds I was going to buy for the amount I wanted anyway. So I was like, fuck, I'll get an EXP boost for my new character, and then I'll cancel it after a month.
There you go. That it for you?
Mostly.
Lone?
Right, well, being the odd one out, I haven't played any Guild Wars 2 at all.
What a
Because,
piece of
How
trash!
dare you?
That's okay.
well, mainly because I've already put over 1,000 hours into that game. There's no endgame content, and I'm waiting for the expansion. Plus also, Guild Wars 2 devs with the station, that's another thing. No, I've been playing WoW, but the other big game I've been playing, War for the Overworld and City Skylines.
City Skylines is supposed to be really good.
Cities is great. It's great.
Getting better as they've patched it a lot more. There's a few things that are changing.
And the mod support, the Steam Workshop support, it takes that game to a whole different level. And
also fixes things that the devs broke in the release as well. Like the garbage, the players themselves are fixing the garbage issues. Yeah, basically.
Amazing.
All right.
But War for the Overworld, I'm loving streaming it, and every time I stream it, I'm finding bugs for them to fix.
You are. War for the Overworld it's coming along. We just need multiplayer up and running and smoothly, and I think they've really got it ironed out. For me, and this is just kind of the way it always is for me, because I do continuing YouTube coverage on a lot of stuff, so my list is always a little crazy. I've been playing Guild Wars 2. I've been doing Elite Dangerous as well. There was just a big community event. There's a lot of stuff coming for Elite Dangerous, so I'm trying to make sure I stay in the loop and have money coming in so that I can afford to buy the new toys that are coming out. I've been playing a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles on my 3DS, like way too much actually. I've almost caught up to my level of progress from my old Wii save, which I had 100 hours in. So it's getting a little disgusting.
I know, he's a fucking nerd. I'm so disappointed in him.
Played a lot of GTA 5 because that game's really good on PC. It's just really good in general. The story for GTA is amazing.
Well, like, how could GTA not be amazing, though?
GTA 4 is awful. GTA 4.
I've been playing GTA since GTA 1 and GTA London.
So have
wherein I crashed into every fucking car on the road because I couldn't fucking process at 10 years, not however old I was, like 12.
So have I.
Had to drive on the other side of the road,
I even played the DS game, but GTA 4, the Nico's campaign, his story in GTA 4 is awful. Ballad of Gay Tony and the one with the bikers is great, but Nico's story is terrible.
I agree.
Other than that, I have played a little bit of Smite, and we took a look at a really interesting game last night on stream. Hover, Revolt of Gamers. It's made by a 3-man indie dev team. It's an early access, and it's basically Mirror's Edge mashed up with Jet Set Radio in an open world, and it's really interesting. It's got a lot of interesting parkour mechanics. It's got a little cool stuff going for it, art style-wise, just the colors. Ranger commented on that last night. She really, just watching it, really liked the world and the art style.
Of what? Oh.
Of Hover.
Oh, right, yes. Mm-hmm.
I know
you're
distracted.
You were going to say the Heroes thing, but...
No, I know you're distracted by Kitty. Yeah, I played Hero Generations a lot, too. But the main problem with Hover right now is it needs some optimization, as you would expect from an alpha game, but it really needs some optimization because I can't get it to run over 20 FPS I tried it today, settings on low, it's stuck at 20, which I'm sure they'll iron that out, but it makes it a little hard to play when you need fast reflexes for parkour.
Plus, didn't I hear from a little dragon that you broke the game by trying to change the controller setup?
I accidentally clicked on the Xbox controller while I was looking to start my recording in the menu, and even after an uninstall and a wipe of the config file, it defaults back to that, and the controller is broken and controller file is broken and spazzes on the menu, and I can't get Steam to launch it without controller support. So I'm going to troubleshoot that later. I fired a message to the devs. It'll get fixed. It's alpha. So that's my list.
I actually got to add something to my list because I totally forgot about it, and that's odd because it's actually a game that I played quite a lot recently, and it got a major update. It's Arma, in case you didn't catch up on it.
Yes, it did get a great update from what you're saying.
Holy shit, the update was amazing, guys. Like, Arma 3 evolves a lot around like strategic stuff, and with the update, they introduced a lot of new just platform content. Like, the premium weapons are amazing. I mean, I bought the DLC bundle way back, and that's awesome in itself. Like, the weapons are gorgeously modeled, the animations are super awesome, but like the platform update really changed the game quite a lot, which are, first of all, the probably most awaited update since freaking since the helicopter DLC is they introduced bipods, which is a major factor.
Oh my god, can you put them on knives? Can you put them on knives though?
Why? Why, Ranger? Why?
Because it's hilarious. Every time I hear bipod now, I can't not think about it.
All right. Fair enough. Fucking A.
Fucking hell.
Sorry, Mike.
No,
Sorry, Mike.
no, but the community has been doing bipods and similar things like weapon stabilization in general for like the last few years of Arma, right? Like, aka Welcome to Arma 2 land, and even before that, I think. So like, it has been a feature that people want, and they finally went around and said, okay, we're gonna change around the weapon handling a little bit, and we're gonna introduce weapon stabilization, aka if you walk up to something and like look over something, you're automatically essentially resting your weapon on top, and you get a better like your weapon fires more accurately and in a different manner, as well as you can deploy the bipod, which makes it like a limited arc that you can use. But it's like
That would be
almost
so fun.
no.
For like, you remember when I went into the world that you had at Arbor 3 and we sat up there with like the coolest snipers of the game, and like I brought the wrong ammo, but we like sat there and like just sniped shit that was like tens of miles away. That's so
Exactly.
fun.
Yes.
That's essentially they also introduced a couple of new ghillie suits with the premium content and some automatic rifle stuff. But like the other big thing that's like, holy shit, the changes are amazing, is they changed the sound around.
Yes.
They now have a lot more realistic sound model, which more like you can tell by the sound how far away a gun is, and as well as like they have like echoes and stuff like that gunfire does in certain situations, like in wood. If you fire your gun in woods, it sounds different than if you fire it in like in a house.
Does that work if you're...
Well, sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
That's really
Does that
cool
work?
because when you think about the physics of it, like if you're in a forest, it's going to bounce off all the different trees, and if you're in
Yes.
a room, then it's going to bounce off the walls in a more uniform way.
And
I
those
like
sound
that a lot.
patches are huge too.
Do you need full 5.1, 7.1 Dolby surround sound, force feedback for that? Or
No.
So how does that work with only, say, stereo?
It's
No,
not so much a
the-
directional thing, Lone. It's more the quality of the sound, as in
Yeah.
the way the actual difference of a gunshot reverberating in a forest as opposed to like an enclosed room or a wide open field.
Right.
As
Okay.
well as like how sound falls off over distance and how the sound changes over distance, as well as like if obstacles are in a way.
Yeah.
Like they introduced a lot of changes to that, which like
It's
it is
literally
day and
not-
night. You don't want to go back to that.
It's literally not
Levels.
directional. It's a soundscape simulation, is really what it is.
Right, gotcha.
So, I forgot one thing Lone and I have played before we move on. Fractured Space.
Of course, yeah.
Fractured Space is...
I've actually played one run of it. Which,
So we had a lot of fun with it, Mike. What did you think of it? I think it needs some polish, but I was impressed with what's there for an alpha.
It needs polish. It's interesting. I mean, I had a few troubles getting around just from a UI based thing.
Yeah.
It took me a little bit to realize where everything is. But it's an interesting game, and I think there's potential in that.
The one thing I really want right now is a party system. Please.
Yes.
It was like pulling
Yes.
teeth for the three of us to get on the same team.
Because that's the other thing about it as well, is that Dime asked me today if I got an email from them, so I checked my email. Don't know why I hadn't checked it in the morning. But one thing I got from them was how self-deprecating that email from them was. It's like,
They
yeah, we
mentioned-
had 250,000 people play the game this weekend, but if you don't want to hear from us again, please click the unsubscribe button. And I'm like, really?
And it was in there.
It
It was in there like 5 times.
Yeah.
If you don't want us to bother you, click unsubscribe. Like, it was really interesting. I think the game has some potential. I'm going to keep an eye on it because it was really fun. The ships feel great. So
I think one major. I mean, I only played one round. I can't really say anything for like qualitatively directly about it. I need to play a lot more to actually get that opinion on. But like from the one match I've played, it sometimes felt a little bit sluggish in terms of gameplay, not in terms of the game itself. I mean like how the game progresses.
Depends. We had a match where we literally had a blitz. Both teams took opposite sides, and we literally had a blitz up. So it really depends, but I got that in a couple rounds. I'll say one thing I could see is some balance changes. Lone got blown away in a flagship in 3 shots by the sniper class ship.
But then again, that kind of made sense as well, because looking at the stats on that sniper ship, it's a glass cannon.
It's a glass cannon, but
incredibly powerful.
Eating through a flagship in 3 shots was a little much.
Well, then again,
holy shit! What?
Yeah, but that was 3 shots on the flagship. It only took 2 shots on the smaller ships, so it's still quite powerful.
It is. Yeah. So that's what we've been playing. Fractured Space is worth a look, guys.
Plus, I got to kill Dimebot, so it was all good.
Creeper was happy.
Creeper's always happy when you die.
She is.
It's okay.
She is. So I'm going to let Mike introduce our first topic for the night. So Mike, go ahead.
So we've been talking about, especially we've been talking about. I think it was Ben. Damn it! I forgot the title of the game actually.
Guitar Hero and
Rock Band.
Rock Band, right?
Music games.
Yes, music games, and we've been talking about the idea of like when you miss a note, what happens, like the feedback that the game gives you that you messed up, and how that plays into a motivational factor into games. So, like for example, I think it was Rock Band that like if you miss a note, the band actually starts to moan and like boo you at some point.
You mean in the new version?
No, he's talking about in the old Rock Band that your bandmates will start responding to you.
I never
audibly.
noticed I sucked that badly. I was just trying to concentrate on what I was doing.
oh, Noob
So-
Central.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's totally. I'll be the first to admit, Guitar Hero and Rock Band are actually. If you ask me to play them, I'll just give up before you even start.
So
Well, my problem with those games is I play the notes as soon as I see them, and my brain processes them.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting until I can't because I'm already processing all the notes that are coming on this. I can't play these games because I want to do all the stuff as soon as it shows it to me because my mind works really fucking fast apparently. So I just want to do it, and then by the time it gets down here, I'm already thinking about all of the notes on the screen. So I can't.
So I'm playing the trailer for the new Guitar Hero Live in the background right now. See, for me, music games are one of my favorite genre of game. It doesn't matter what they are, especially stuff like Rock Band and Guitar Hero. I love them, and I'm really, really good at Rock Band and Guitar Hero. For those that don't know, I play a lot of musical instruments in real life. So, like Ranger's Problem, that doesn't affect me as much because I'm so used to reading sheet music, especially for piano. So it's just going as I get there.
Music for piano too.
Yeah, it's weird to me. It's weird to me that you have that problem because for me, it's a non-issue in those games.
No,
Whereas
totally.
for me, I'm a
I
singer.
have to
It's a sugar
reprioritize. Yeah.
I'm a singer, but I can't play any instruments, and I can't read or write music to save my life. I'm tonal, so I can pick it up as I memorize it as I hear it, but I can't play instruments. So, which one was it that they added singing in?
That's Rock Band.
Yeah, that one I actually was okay at, but only at the singing parts. Instrument
The
parts.
game that had Spanish music in, so you had to sing in Spanish.
Funnily
That
enough,
was a terrible time.
I had the hardest time with Rock Band with other people because I have perfect pitch, so I have a really hard time listening to other people sing.
That's why Guy has to sing.
I don't sing either, but
It's because he can hear himself and he knows not to sing.
exactly. But it's like one of the most. I make people mad in TeamSpeak all the time because people will start singing and I'll mute my speakers.
That doesn't piss me
That
off.
doesn't offend me.
Not you, Nico, but other people it does irritate. But I think it's interesting the way that we've now segued because what you're seeing right now is the new new Guitar Hero Live trailer, and if you'll notice, it's got real actors and a real band, and
Oh.
it takes feedback to an entirely new, creepy level because as you start doing poorly, the crowd will start booing you, and your band will start giving you eat shit and die looks.
Now, this is the thing. When you mentioned this, I thought, oh, it would be all mocapped, and they would have mocapped this and it will be CGI'd. But how many times have they recorded this then? Or is this just going to be the same thing, just one bad and one good?
I'm not really 100% sure, but I'm not sold on this concept, because feedback is incredibly important in music games. Keeping the rhythm, keeping the beat, like knowing how well you're doing. Even if you go to old games like, does anybody remember Rezzed?
Nico remembers Parappa the Rapper.
Parappa the Rapper is another good one. Hell, Space Channel 5.
Yes.
So, but what to you guys is like good feedback in a game like that, and what is like I would just prefer not to have this level of feedback? When does it become distracting from you actually doing well?
I have a suggestion. I have one. In Parappa the Rapper 1, as you do bad, you kind of hear this, like, the music would start to degrade.
Mm-hmm.
And that was decent, because when you got back, you're like, yeah, I got to it again. But the problem with the sequel, Parappa Rapper 2, they start trying to make the song easier for you to play by messing up some of the words, the music. So you already button memorized, but now they're screwing up it to make it easier, air quotes. That's a degrading gameplay that I really did not like.
I could see that. Ranger?
I think that I think it's an interesting idea. I think that for somebody who's not that good at those games, I wouldn't really appreciate then getting negative feedback and be like, oh, fucking I suck. I imagine that they will have a lot more broken guitars from this, because people will be like, fuck this kid, you know, and they'll just like, bam, and they'll smash it into bits. But, like, what does the positive do? Do they go like, you know, or do like girls from the audience throw panties on the stage? Like, what?
Ranger, what do you do at concerts? I
don't throw panties on the stage.
When you're actually
she'll throw the bra instead.
No. What I'm actually imagining is like Ranger going. I'm imagining like Ranger going with a giant handbag stuffed full of cheap panties and just like staying there, just like pitching them onto the stage.
Who's she
they have to be really embarrassing ones, like the huge granny panties. I would do that.
Yeah, exactly. Who's she going to see? Tom Jones?
But
no, I would do it to be funny.
So one of my favorite forms of musical feedback ever, at this is not even a music game, but the old school SSX games, not the garbage they re-released on the new systems, but one of the ways that you knew you were doing good in those games is because it actively mixed the music, and the better you were doing, the more tracks, the more beats, the more complex the music got. So if you busted your face after a huge trick and like didn't land it, you could potentially be left with just like a simple drum beat. And that's like a very simple audio feedback way of knowing, wow, I really suck right now. And that wouldn't be something that would be very hard to integrate into something like a Rock Band or Guitar Hero. As you start doing poorly, the other tracks start to fade out. I always hated the little forced, like, out of tune guitar twang they had in Guitar Hero. I hated that.
Yeah, there's a couple of like interesting problems that come with that. Like the guitar twang obviously is like straightforward. We're really just, hey, you just messed up a note.
Yeah.
Sort of just straight off the bat, like you hear it and you know you messed up a note.
But it also fucks up the beat.
Exactly. That's the problem with it. Like there's not too much thought into that. Like it's just so straightforward that it causes issues with it.
So like
something like the crowd reacting, I kind of like because it sort of is a little bit more immersive in that way, but and also gives you that feedback of do good. But the problem with it is like, does it become demotivational at the point where you mess up a little bit too much? Like, do you fall into that demotivational pit where you don't want to play anymore?
And I've been there, like when I've been trying to do something like the Dragon Force song in the Guitar Hero, where I've just started to miss notes and it started to give me that feedback, and just over and over, and I've just taken my hands off the guitar because I just want it over with.
Yeah.
But then that's Dragon Force.
Yeah, but it can happen to anybody in that game, though. Like, you just get to the point where the
Try
feedback.
the 12th Etude by Chopin.
Yeah.
That's perfect for Ranger because she can see the notes and then she's just like, yeah, I got this.
Yeah,
You're
Ranger,
there.
if you-
Yeah, I would do awesome on that.
I was gonna say, if you're really playing Guitar Hero like that, you should be a beast at Through the Fire and Flames.
Well, what happens is, like, I do really badly for a while, and then I kind of reorient, and like I have to not look at anything else on the screen except for like half an inch above the bar. Otherwise, like, that's how I have to be like, okay, don't pay attention to anything else. Just this.
I already mentioned that I'm crap at them anyway, but the other problem I've got with these games is that I want to play a game where I'm going to be rewarded for doing well rather than penalized for doing badly. Which is also the same reason we were talking about it last time. I don't play games like Dark Souls because
Dark Souls is brutal.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to play games where I'm going to do well. Even Mario back in the day, that was considered brutal gaming. Because if you couldn't get past an area in Mario until someone showed you, you just couldn't move forward.
Yeah. Well, I think with the music games, especially talking about Rock Band, Guitar Hero, and even DJ Hero, one of the things you have is you have a very strong negative feedback mechanism. You don't have an equally strong positive feedback mechanism. What's the positive feedback in Guitar Hero or Rock Band? It's that you get to trigger your special or that you get through the song. It's
stage.
Yes, it's much less instant or pronounced, in my opinion, than the negative feedback. The negative feedback is very slap on the wrist. The positive feedback is much gentler. And I think that maybe, even though we all think it's a little creepy, I think that maybe in the new Guitar Hero, actually having your band, because one of the things I say is, like, your band will start to, like, get in the groove and they'll start to, like, be rocking out with you and, you know, doing the rocker things and having the crowd screaming your name and pointing at you. Like, that's a step in the right direction because it gives you a very, very strong feedback when you perform well.
I agree with that. Like, especially if it's like just like clips essentially just like stop playing at some point, it's kind of weird. But like if it fades over to like actually hype you up in a way, that's kind of cool. That is cool as hell.
I think it's going to be very off-putting for a lot of people, though.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's very weird for me to watch it. If you guys, I don't know if you guys saw all the trailer. I'll replay it again in a second. But you start off like backstage and you're looking down at your hands like messing with a pick, and then you start walking out, and a roadie hands you a guitar, and your band members are getting all hyped and stuff, and it's very interesting.
Do they have? Sorry, go ahead, Nico.
It's like the old CD-ROM games, like that they use like real life people for.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it feels like.
I'm gonna T Martin actually. I'm gonna steal a little T Martin's video for a second. T Martin's got up some video of it.
Also, I was gonna mention Vib Ribbon does really good too.
Who does?
Vib Ribbon, because when you do really good, you turn to a princess Vib Ribbon, dancing and skipping. But when you start doing bad, you turn to a frog and then a worm.
So, chat, here's what we're currently showing you on stream. It's
Is it new Guitar Hero gameplay by any chance?
Yes, it's interesting. They also have a very, I just have to point this out, they have an extremely, like, in one of these clips, they have, like, an extremely racially diverse band. Like, it's, like, the perfect, like, diversity band. It's a little, just, like, really, guys?
Well, do they have, so, like, you said that you look at your pick in your hands or whatever, but did they record a guy and a girl doing it? So, like, can you play as a female character, per se?
Don't know. If you guys also notice, they've changed the control layout. I know they've taken the 5th button off the neck of the guitar.
You know, the biggest thing I'm noticing there is the fact that obviously it's a guy with a still camera as they're walking forward. But what really gets me is there's not enough wobble, because obviously the lead guitarist is going to be drunk at this point.
Well, they do kind of have to strike the line between it being real and you not getting motion sick from playing it.
Wait, why are you playing the guitar while you're walking out? I feel like you should be already there.
They're on stage right now.
I know. Oh, okay,
anyways.
There we go. Oh, there was a thing that fell. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
But anyways, like, here you can see the crowd and stuff. It's interesting. I'm really not sold on this. I'm really not.
There's a couple of other major things, and this is coming from the retail point of view, because when it was really big, I was working at Game and I was working in the retail. The big thing about the Guitar Hero was not actually the gameplay; it was DLC, the add-on tunes, some more DLC, and also the actual instruments that you could buy. Are they redoing all this? Is there going to be tons of DLC licensed music?
Well,
what sort of music? That's the big thing for sales, though.
Yeah, well, I don't know. And it's important to note, I will say that they have kind of confirmed that what we're seeing right here, this is not every level of the game.
Okay, so you don't have to stare at the same ugly mugs every time?
No,
Okay.
like the live stuff is not every level of the game. So it'll be interesting how they do. But I like right here, this is a very, to keep it back to what we were talking about, this is a really cool, like, positive, like, feedback. Like, you know, the crowd's kind of into it, even though they're all paid actors and blah, blah, blah. But it's convincing. It's neat.
Yeah,
Breaking
it's
the
a neat little thing that they are doing.
Do they have like large, like bands, like people you could turn around and recognize?
Not that I've seen.
Oh, because that would be potentially really cool.
It would.
Basically,
Like if I
you're
turned
actually-
around and it was the bass guitar dude for Disturbed, I'd be really fucking happy. I'd be like, dude.
By the looks of it, Ranger, you're in a really cheap cover band.
Potentially.
This
That
isn't realistic
getting
enough for
hyped
me.
up
There's
pretty
gotta be
fucking
some
badly
more girls
in a
screaming.
fucking huge stadium.
Yeah, it needs more panties and
They're just the
less
warm-up.
actors.
They're the warm-up band.
That's just one.
You're
I don't know. The
basically
stadium is pretty hype for that.
Yeah, the stadium is pretty hype. So,
This is weird because I feel like I'm a disembodied body just floating in the air. Because I'm like standing over these people, like, oh, hello.
so here's what's here's
it's
the
not too bad, I
confirmed the confirmed bands so far, and I'm definitely not sold on this list of confirmed bands by any means. I hope they get some actual good bands in here because there's only like 3 on this list. Maybe more than 3, but not many. The Black Keys, Blitz Kids, Ed Sheeran, Fall Out Boy, Gary Clark Jr., Green Day, The Killers, The Lumineers, My Chemical Romance, Pierce the Veil, The Rolling Stones, The War on Drugs, and fucking Skrillex.
Hey,
Hey,
Okay.
he's a
I
good player.
like some of
He's alright.
those sad face.
I like some of those too,
Oh.
but then you've got like My Chemical Romance and Skrillex.
I don't mind My Chemical Romance.
Yeah,
I don't
I
mind them
really
either.
don't mind them that bad. Skrillex, how you gonna do dubstep in a? I don't know.
I would love to not ever have a Stain song ever played again, ever, but that's
I
a
just
personal
meant
opinion.
a slow song, okay? Can deal
You
with
want a
it.
ballad? You want a stained ballad?
Yeah, like something where people would pull out lighters and then you can see lighters. That
can't
would be
do that
cool.
anymore. You can't do that anymore for health and
Champions.
safety.
Yeah.
Yes.
A Stained ballad, aka the only thing they can play live without screwing it up. Oh,
Oh,
bird.
gosh. Yeah, anyway, move on before we offend people.
Oh snap!
What a dick.
I just feel like Donbot's jealous because he's not good. He needs to
Yeah,
get
okay.
I
good.
think that's
All right. So I think
There is. It's also like I just mentioned now. The other major thing about this is, like you were talking about, Dime, is the bands that are actually in it. Now, are they going to be old ones, or are we going to start seeing new bands in it? Because some of our indie game bands, for instance, will they ever get a chance to have their music in this sort of thing because they're not as licensed or not as big?
Course of Action might actually.
That's gonna
They're
be
not that big
DLC more than anything. Because
Yeah.
it's-
I gotta agree with that because this is like the feedback in this thing is not generalized. It's very specific to very specific songs.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna like produce new content for that? That's maybe not as high cost as something like this.
Yes. It really depends on exactly what the rest of the levels look like. And for one, like if they actually have the old style Guitar Hero stuff in here as well, that's going to be a massive clash with those live things.
Is this PC
Yeah.
confirmed, or is it just console?
It's not PC confirmed that I'm aware of.
I'm
Oh,
not
Does
surprised.
that mean?
Guess I'm
Senior
not gonna
Dimebot's
play
gonna
it.
have- Yeah, exactly. There's the other thing as well, is that we're mostly PC centric. Only me and Ranger really play consoles. Well, apart from Wii U, but that's another thing.
What?
So-
I mean,
Nico
That's
plays.
systems.
Yeah.
I hate most computer games.
Streaming from consoles. like me and Ranger can stream it, but does that mean that Dimebot's got to join the console generation and get an Xbox One to play this?
Not happening,
And
buddy.
stream
Play
it?
what? To play what?
Not happening.
Well, I'm not
The
playing
Guitar
this.
Hero, the new one.
Not
Oh,
happening.
well, I'm not going to play it either, so neither of
Anyways.
us are going to stream it.
Let's. That's been kind of an interesting conversation because I think that we're about to see how people are going to respond to this kind of feedback come Christmas. And E3 will obviously get to see a lot more of this and Rock Band 4. So, let's talk about our last topic of the night. You guys may have noticed during the what we're all playing this week at the beginning, MMOs. All of us are playing one form of MMO or another. Some of us a couple of them. So, thought we'd talk about, because 2 weeks ago, we talked about when is a game too hard, like when do we stop enjoying it. So, this week, we're going to talk about why do we play MMOs. And I'll just open it up, whichever one of y'all wants to start it off.
I have it.
Well, go ahead, Nervous Kit Wolf.
Don't be nervous either.
I'm a person who, like, I'm so used to being alone. I don't usually play in a party. So MMOs never really had a grip on me until Guild Wars, because I really liked their heart system where I could just join in and do a mission and, like, go. With, like, I just like being able to be alone, but I don't also mind running with my crew. It's just...
Your entourage.
Nico just made that totally gangster.
Posse.
Yeah.
It's Nico's posse.
Yeah, I feel like MMOs are so tight bet on, you gotta have this guild, and you gotta be with everybody, and you gotta do these big things, and that's epic and awesome, but just that's why Guild Wars like really the only MMO I've ever really liked because of that. And also, buy one, don't have to pay for it again. That helped me.
Yeah, no sub fees nice in Guild Wars. Lone, you've got a lot of time in Guild Wars. And you have, frankly, an amount of time in WoW that concerns me and makes me think you should probably get professional help. So why don't you go next?
Well, right, okay. Well, as you're obviously looking at the amount of time I've spent in various games, would it be fair to say I am the MMO veteran on this group?
Either you or Mike.
8,000 hours in Guild Wars 1, 8,000 hours in Guild Wars 1, 4,000 hours in Guild Wars 2, 7,500 hours in World of Warcraft.
Like, you have more, or
You-
has more?
500 hours.
I have not even close to that.
Oh,
Lone,
okay.
you need
I'm scared for Lone.
you need a fucking
guys.
intervention, buddy.
Right, okay. I've been
I'm so
running the radio.
scared.
I've been running the radio station for nearly 8 years now, and this is what we do. The radio station covers the MMO market, so I'm kind of biased here anyway. And I started the radio station by covering Guild Wars 1. I actually covered Guild Wars 1 for another radio station before that. But you also have to remember as well, when I started internet DJing, I was also still recovering from my broken back. So I was actually wheelchair and bedbound whilst I was doing it. That's why I was building a community. So yeah, exactly. So I'm one of those people who got into MMOs to help me recover.
What's wrong with your mic?
Nothing.
Nothing.
It was a weird latency thing. It happens in Skype all the time.
Yeah.
No, he was going crackly for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's just a connection
internet
thing.
connection.
Yeah. He's
Anyway.
back though.
So why are how
So
well,
why?
let's say it like this. What is keeping you playing MMOs?
Content.
Story.
And the community. There are two things: content and the community. Yes, there's not many in the guild, but it's the guild that does it. It's not just. I get excited when Dime says, "Hey, let's go and play something." I get excited when Ellis says it. I get excited when Zao says it. It's like today. I've gotten my rogue to level 85 finally. So I turned around to Ellis today and said, "Do you want to help me do Dragon Soul and help me start the legendary quest?" So we did. We got halfway through the raid for it. I got my legendary item to get started, and that's the fun part of it. Even though I died many times, that's the fun part of it. But also as well, it's mostly the community.
Well,
Plus,
I want to
so
make a
obviously-
comment. Can I make a comment based on MMO community while it's there? You guys, everybody knows that I love Destiny. If there was like an A for Destiny, I would like be a gold card member. But
Nobody knows about that. Your addiction is safe with us.
Hi, I'm Ranger, and I play Destiny.
I play Destiny, and I
does.
wait on Tuesday for the raid reset that I'm missing.
Sorry, Ranger.
So no, it's okay. I haven't been raiding seriously until the past couple weeks, but like the Destiny community is a community like I've never seen before, to be honest. And I don't want to say this because then people will come back at me like, well, all this other stuff had happened. That's totally not what you're saying. But I want to say selfless, because there are people that will go through the raids and get all the top raid gear and max out their galleys and their best weapons, all this stuff. And then they log into a website. I can't remember what it's called, but it's in the app or whatever. And you can just post like, hey, want to run Crota hard, and you will fill your raid team in a second. Because people who are max level will come down and be like, oh, have you ever raided before or whatever? I've got a max galley. I'm a Sunsinger, all this kind of stuff. I know how to do this cheese, or I know how to jump across this gap and all this kinds of stuff. And your raid team will fill instantly. Like moments,
That's nice, because being a
that kind of stuff doesn't happen everywhere.
No, being the only WildStar player here, I'll tell you, when you want to do raids or the dungeons, the veteran level dungeons in WildStar, the first question you'll get asked if you join a pug, is, do you know how to do this? Or have you done this before? Or they'll look at your gear, and if you say no, or you're not wearing exactly the right gear, the pug will drop instantly.
Now, this is the thing.
See, it's totally the opposite in Destiny. It's like people will be like, oh, I'll help you, don't worry.
WoW used to do this, and Blizzard added two things over a couple of patches ago. It was Cataclysm. Zeus will probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was Cataclysm. So two expansions ago, they changed it. They added a better system a better journal of what's actually happening in the dungeon and the raid, so you can actually see what skills the boss has, how to counter them, that sort of thing. But so unless you don't read. So then you should be okay. But also the looking for raid, which is the same as the dungeon finder, but for a raid group. Which, okay, it's not the full raid. The boss doesn't use all of their skills, but you get an idea of the boss fights.
Yeah.
And it also gives you a good gear up so that you can get into normal raiding.
And WildStar does have multiple difficulty levels for the dungeons, but it's a problem with a lot of MMOs. Also, give him grief. I am glad you found us, definitely. We do this every other week, and we don't play games while we do this show. This is a straight-up gaming talk show, news, opinion, and discussion. That's what we're here for. I will say, Guild Wars has it too. I know WoW had it, like you said before, they did something to fix it. It's interesting, the other MMO that three of us play, four of us, and it is an MMO, even though it doesn't have a lot of the trappings, is Elite.
Yeah,
yes.
I love to spend a lot of time alone on Elite, though.
Large MMO.
No, yeah, Elite is totally an MMO. It ticks every MMO box.
It does, except for skills and levels, but...
No, technically it still has it, because it has gear. Your ships. Your ship is your gear.
You still gear up, you still build your setup. Like, you have a specific setup that has targeted to do specific things, like...
At
trading
one point,
if
you have a website like ED Shipyard, you have a gearing system.
Let me clarify. When I say like skills and gearing, I mean more like I'm referring more to like the progression concept of this is the optimal way to do this and get this power, because I have watched an Anaconda get its ass ripped off by a low-level Viper because the pilot of the Anaconda had no clue what he was doing.
Yeah. There is still that, but that's inherent in every MMO. I can go into that. Zoust and I can go into a mythic Highmall tomorrow. Zoust can actually invite me into the group and tell them all to fuck off if they don't want me in it, but because I haven't done normal. But I could be in a mythic group with Zoust tomorrow, and the tank could have absolutely no idea what to do, even though he's got the gear for it, because he's probably using PvP gear or something. That it's the same in every MMO. It comes down to player skill.
I will disagree with that in Guild Wars, because I feel like I can walk over to Quaddle and hold down the one button and let it auto attack and walk away from the computer and still get loot.
Yeah, you can to a point.
After you double down, you
in Guild Wars 2 you can.
But as long as you
that's
deal
actually-
damage, you'll still get it.
But that's one of the reasons I have no interest in doing a lot of the dungeons and the fractals in Guild Wars, because and this is my opinion, I know people are going to disagree, but in my opinion, combat outside of PvP, PvE combat in Guild Wars 2 takes no skill. I could train a monkey to do it.
Yeah, no, totally agree. But this is actually one thing that I was talking to, finally, after 10 years of covering Guild Wars and talking to her online, I finally met Gail Gray at EGX Rest back in March. And one of the things I was talking to her about was, hopefully, we're going to get a dungeon finder.
That would be
Hopefully.
nice. So, to drag us back to the topic a little bit, Mike, why do you continue to play MMOs? Because you've played longer than I have. Not as long as frickin' Addiction Boy over here, but...
I've actually played MMOs way back. Like I used to play those really cheesy free Japanese MMOs sometimes. I can't remember the names.
Hey,
of them.
some of those are fun, mate.
Some of them are fun. I'm not saying they're not fun, but they're like really cheesy, like the typical cheesy, you know.
A goo cheesy?
Gouda, yeah.
Okay.
It's fucking Gouda over there.
Anyways.
So, something that draws me back is sort of the... First off, it's the progression, I think, that draws me back. Like, getting new things is sort of exciting for me. Like, finding new things and exploring new things is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, there's a lot of aspects in MMOs that usually are there that draw me back. And it's not one thing, it's more of the combination of all of them. Because, for example, in Guild Wars, I like trading. I like exploring the world. I like the storyline. I really enjoy the story that's being developed, especially with the living world. I enjoy PvP to a certain degree. I like world versus world. I like the tiny world versus world, which is Edge of the Mist.
I think world versus world is fun. I do like that concept.
Yes, it is. And it's even better now I've got PC, I can run it.
I love finding out how things, like, how you can optimize things. So, like, dungeons for me are, like, the highlight, right? Like, I can go into the dungeon and say, okay, how can I make this run more efficient? Like, and those sort of things are exciting. And, like, I love trading. So, like, the trading pose is actually super interesting for me, because it's a lot of items that have a true market, because it's not limited to like one server. Like back in the days when I played WoW, like it's server specific.
That's also another thing that changed as well in WoW. The Dungeon Finder and Raid Finder does mash them all together. Plus, of course, because the player base dropped so much, they actually merged a lot of servers together. Like, for instance, now our Horde and Alliance Guild are actually on the same server, even though they were separate before.
That's trippy.
That is weird. That's
From
what
I understand of the Horde and Alliance, that's a little tricky.
That's one of the things, Mike, actually, that keeps me in WildStar, even though when the new WoW expansion came out, WildStar's player base tanked, because a lot of people that got sick of WoW, went to WildStar. But and one of the reasons, you guys have all heard me, one of the reasons I'm not a fan of the dungeon content in Guild Wars is because I love the way that WildStar handles its dungeons, because it has a much more active combat system. But I've studied the trading, the market, and the optimization, and the way to max dungeons. Like, the hardest dungeon in WildStar, in order to get your raid attunement, and its old school style WoW raid attunement, in order to get that dungeon completed for raid attunement, you have to get at least bronze, which is to run a dungeon that's supposed to take an hour in under 25 minutes and kill the boss, who has multiple ways to wipe the party as soon as he spawns.
That's sort of the content thing that I enjoy about it. It's also like just having things to do.
Yep.
Like, always having like a target is something that keeps me in MOBAs.
And you know what?
MMOs, rather.
You know what really keeps me coming back to Elite, and then Ranger, we'll get to you. Straight up exploration keeps me coming back to Elite, because every time I fly somewhere in Elite, I see something absolutely ridiculous.
Like, and cool and beautiful. I've seen all those pictures that you put in the chat.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you're going or what you're doing in Elite. Elite is just insane. And yeah, I enjoy, and this video is buffering awfully badly, I enjoy making money, and it's bronze now, Zoust, yes. You've
just blown his mind.
They stepped attunement down after not a lot of people started getting it. Welcome back, give him grief. But Elite, exploration's a huge draw for me in that game, just because it's the one-to-one recreation of the galaxy, so it's literally insane what you can see. Like I showed you that picture of the day, Mike. We thought that was a gas giant, a purple gas giant with huge rings around it. No, it was a dying dwarf star that was sucking in all the asteroids into a ring around it.
It's amazing. Like one thing. Yeah, I agree with that with Elite. I haven't played it much recently, but like I want to play it, but like I don't find any time for it at the moment. One thing I love about that game is the straight up scale of it and what you can, like, the amount of stars and different systems you can explore is mind-boggling.
It is.
And you can make your living on exploring stuff.
Yes, and keep in mind that eventually we're going to be able to land on those planets and get out.
Yeah, who needs that? That's the thing. The big thing that we were all really interested in. We were all really interested in No Man's Sky last year. As soon as that expansion, that update comes for Elite, no one will care about No Man's Sky.
I care about No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky looks amazing.
It does look amazing. It really does. But
guys, let's do a roll call real quick because some of our viewers, I think, don't know who we are. I'm Dimebot. I'm your host. We are joined by
Mike.
That's Mike Matrix. Lone.
Hi.
That's the Lone Samurai. Yellow Ranger is down there in her very awesome sweater.
My mommy knitted it for me.
It's very colorful. And Nico Kitwolf is not on camera tonight. Nico Kitwolf is actually the picture of the puppy right here.
Shiba.
She's my dog, and I don't show myself very often, so...
And I'm out of focus. Webcam, calm down.
You lean forward. You lean forward. It's like...
There we go.
My camera doesn't have that problem.
Dom, you just have to show them your hand, and then it'll kind of do that white, like, focus.
Talk to the hand. Anyways, Ranger, you were going to say something before we talked about the exploration in Elite.
Yeah, well, it's just like the big reason that MMO games really appeal to me. It's like, you guys keep hitting different parts of all the reasons that I love MMOs, and it kind of makes me realize that the real reason that I love playing MMOs is the wide variety of things that you can do. Any part of your personality that is expressing itself on that day, there is that part of that game, if it's got a lot of variety, which all of them do, that can like really, really hit that spot.
Yes.
So like if you feel like not talking to anyone and just exploring, you can play any one of these games and just go off on your own for a while, and that's totally fine.
Do it all the time.
And I love doing that too. But because I'm kind of like a loot whore and a collectible whore, so if I go and I map clear for like 4 hours on Guild Wars, I'm happy with myself.
Yeah.
What you mean by that is you're a kleptomaniac.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
I like shinies. But
I agree, Ranger. I'm the same way as you are. Like, I have a hopeless shiny addiction. So
it's like this is the show of AA meetings, right?
It really is.
It's actually MMOs are they're the problem with MMOs is that you get addicted to that one part. I'm addicted to collecting skins in Guild Wars 2.
That can get expensive.
Yeah.
I'm not buying any of them. I'm just going to try to collect as much as I can without using gems.
There you go. And the other part, so like you can do that, and then on the complete opposite side, you can link up with a bunch of your friends or your guild or whatever, and just like sock it to a boss and be like, "Fuck you," and be like, "Yeah, we're awesome, and like all those kinds of like. It doesn't matter what you want to do, or all these games have PvP now. You can go and play the PvP thing if you just feel like talking to other players, and it's like there's such a wide variety of everything you could do. And I love being able to play ESO and be in that world. I love being able to play something like Elite or Destiny. I link them together because they're both space.
Oh, it's fine.
On itself. So
I
and
love
like the space thing.
I love being able to show my friends that stuff too, like that.
I love streaming them.
Yeah, well, I love that holy shit moment. Like the first time I dragged Lone over to a high intensity conflict zone in Elite where there was actually a capital ship. The first time he saw one come out of hyperspace, he was just like, "Oh my god!"
That's the thing, Dime. I didn't see it. I heard it first. I actually had my back to it, and then as I turned, I realized how close I was.
You're like, "Oh shit!"
And how frightening they are.
Because when the hyper window opens for it, does a full on.
Yeah, they're scary. Now imagine, just keep in mind, I've been within a kilometer of two of them coming out of hyperspace at once in a fight with each other.
That's
amazing.
Did you not die?
I don't.
Is that a wipe?
No, my ship can take that.
Oh,
but how do you hear?
Hold on, Mike. There's actually a reason for that, Nico. I'll explain it when Mike goes.
Science.
The scale of Elite still fucking amazes me. Like it's just fucking cool.
Yeah,
like just thinking about it is fucking cool.
So
the thing that gets me as well is I'm really chuffed to hear that they're actually going to do updates as more Kepler information comes in as well.
Yes.
So star systems will actually change as we get more detailed info.
So they did a stream last week, and it was not a good stream. It's the first time they streamed from their studios. They had all kinds of problems. But they did it with the lead audio designer of the game, and somebody in chat asked, they said, "There's no sound in space. Why do you guys have sounds like that?" And they actually have lore written to explain it.
Oh
and
my god.
The lore that they use for it is when in the Elite universe, when these ship systems were first developed to allow the pilots to fly like this, it was just normal. There was no sound. And it started causing the pilots claustrophobia, nausea, and all kinds of problems. So the lore is that the ship's computer in Elite generates an artificial soundscape to give the pilot some reference for what's going on around him.
Oh
Which also gives them the option.
Oh, that is cool as hell.
That sounds.
I can picture somebody hacking into the system and putting like Betty Hill sounds.
Yes, but I thought it was
no, guys. You can hack into someone else's system and force it to play Rickroll.
Oh god.
Oh god.
But I thought it was awesome that they've put enough thought into their universe to have a plausible explanation for that.
Mainly because they don't want to George Lucas it down.
Basically. But Elite Guild Wars, we all know how I feel about WoW, but that's a personal thing.
I still want to play it just as a comparison.
No, but at WildStar, they all scratched that one it for me that Ranger said so well, which is no matter what I want to do on a given day, I can log into one of these games, and I can go do it. If I want to get together with Mike and Nico and the rest of the guild, or Lone and the rest of Wolfpack Samurai, and go beat the shit out of Claw Jormag, we could go do that. Or if we just want to run around and explore. Or if I want to fly escort on Scarlet Dragon while she runs a cargo of slaves somewhere in Elite, I could do it.
Slaves.
Slaves.
Anyway, you know she wouldn't slaves because she's far too.
I love what Give 'em Grief just said in the chat. You hack their cockpit, and every explosion all you hear is giggity.
That would be hilarious.
When
your ship takes damage.
Add this to the game.
Amazing.
I demand. Like,
when your ship takes damage, that sound when he's on the ground, like.
You know what?
Home in the desert, guys. They're in the desert.
It would not be hard for me to program Amy to do that. It would not be hard to program Amy to do that. Oh God.
Let's hope the Elite devs are not listening.
They're not. They're not.
Guys, I want an MMO underwater game with good water controls.
A lot of people get like.
Hey! I think Guild Wars might actually improve on that with Out of the.
I think they probably will.
Well, because you're doing Hylix stuff too now, so Yeah, but
I
I
want to
was
play
gonna
as
go into that.
Quaggin, damn it.
Well, I don't know.
Quaggin loves you.
Oh, guys, I picked him for my coastline because I did
Quaggins
the,
do not talk like that. That's not
Hold
how
on.
the harpies sound,
Whoa,
though.
whoa, whoa.
The harpies
What,
sound like
Ranger?
that.
No, I picked them as my species to study.
Ah.
For I forget the name of the big tower.
Prairie?
Ah.
Yes, thank you. I'm bad with names, okay?
Well, the
Quaggins are
Assassin
fucking
Guild.
adorable.
The Assassin Guild studies the dredge, the ogres, and the other thing that I forget, because fuck them.
So, what does everybody think about, what do you prefer? Prescription model? Really? Sub or no sub?
No sub. No reason.
No sub.
Actually, it would be prescription because it is a MMO AA meeting.
Yeah, it is fair enough. But
that's what you gotta call this if you upload it to
Methadone
YouTube.
for MMO.
WildStar is the only game, the only one I pay a sub fee to. Guild Wars, I think Guild Wars and Elite, both, I like the way they're doing it. They're going to charge us for the major content drops, but everything else you buy once.
Sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm praying that one day Square Enix will say, you know what? I don't want you guys to pay a monthly fee. I'll let you play Final Fantasy XI after paying for it. Or Final Fantasy 14, and then I'm laughing and I cry in my own heart because I want to play this game, but I know Square are greedy assholes, and I won't be getting that.
Yeah. So, that's that goes back to why I bought ESO now and not ever before.
Yeah.
I think quite honestly, the system has to be set up correctly to allow for no sub because they have to generate money from somewhere to run the sub.
Yeah,
that's fair. They already have online stores, though, Mike. That's the problem.
Well, but let's take an example here because WildStar.
Yeah.
Let me use WildStar as an example. WildStar is still sub. WildStar does not have all that stuff you can buy for real money. It runs on the old style model, as you'd expect from WoW devs.
But that's the other thing, and that's the reason a lot of people are believing the fact that, especially as the WoW tokens went live in the EU today, so we can actually now play World of Warcraft for in-game gold as well. But we can play it now without a subscription. There is a veteran offline, unsub version now. I could log in tomorrow.
Is that like a dwarfed version?
It's still a little bit, but if you're a veteran, so you've actually bought the game, you've subbed in the past, you still have access to nearly everything, but there's a couple of little caveats. Like if you make a new character, you can only join a guild that you're already in, for instance.
Okay.
But whereas if I made a character right now, it would be a starter account. He'd be locked out of pretty much everything and up to level 20. But I could play it. Yeah, you could log in now. On top of it as well, if your characters have gold, now that the WoW tokens are out, on the character select screen, there is now an option that you could buy a WoW token with gold off your characters. So you can actually resub right now. You never need to pay with real money again if you're willing to farm for it.
Right, but who's going to find the first gold-breaking farm where suddenly...
They already have. And they're perfectly fine.
Look at that.
That's the thing.
An old game.
Yeah, yes. The Cataclysm raids. Now, if you do 2 of the Cataclysm raids, let's say, what were we doing earlier? Last week with me and Zaust, we did Bastion of Twilight and we did Firelands, because I was doing my legendary quest as well. And we were making $4,000 between those 2 raids, and that's an hour. So, and today the WoW token went live at 30,000 gold. It went up to 43,000 gold in the first 6 hours or so, but that's still doable in 2 weeks, easily.
Yeah.
On a couple of characters.
And what's your max? What's the max amount of gold you can carry?
999,000, blah, blah, blah.
So, somebody who's been playing the game for ages and has that cap, on a regular basis, they could buy several coins for themselves.
Yeah. You can only they've maxed it at 10. Someone was actually talking in trade chat on my server, and they said they bought 10 and it wouldn't let them buy any more.
10 ever, or 10
at a time?
10 at a time.
Okay.
So he used them all, and then he could buy some more. So I think he's probably paid up for at least a year and a half.
That's pretty cool.
I want to address something in chat. I think sub fee on console does exist. It's a much harder sell on console especially for Xbox players. If you think about the fact that if you have sub fee on an Xbox game, potentially you've got paying your ISP, Xbox Live, and a game sub fee.
And that's why console people won't. We already pay every year just to have Xbox Live.
But that's the
and
thing.
Xbox Live has been Xbox Gold has been spitting out free games from the last couple of years.
It has.
Now.
As has PlayStation Network. But there's the other thing as well, and with the recent change, and this is going to change for the games as well soon. It's already been confirmed by Microsoft. As with the media stuff in the last major update, you don't have to pay Xbox Gold for Netflix and the like. That's going to be the case for subscription-based games as well, because they want you playing on the Xbox One.
Yep.
And also, the problem with sub fees for console gamers, we're used to owning the game. Once we own it, we don't have to pay for it again. We're very used to that, and I know people would be very pissy.
I think
if they had to keep
That's exactly. I just typed that into chat as you were saying it.
Yep.
So, like, people who played WoW on PC, right? They're used to a subscription system. Console has never worked that way. So people who have been playing consoles, not to mention the massive amount of people that have Xboxes, like we've never seen this before. You buy a game once, and that's it. And you play the pro rate for the Xbox Live Gold to play online, and that is it. They would not take it well. They would not take it well at all.
And we do need to wrap up, but I think, and this is not necessarily MMO related, but I think we're going to see this year exactly, and it's not quite the same as a sub, but I think we're going to see exactly how much money you can get out of console gamers after they've paid for a game, because Smite is coming to the Xbox One, and it's already getting very favorable reception in its beta, and Smite relies very heavily on microtransactions. So, not a sub fee, but it's going to be really interesting to see what console gamers are willing to shell out money for after they already have their game.
I think that if it's your gamer as a choice as a gamer to get these things, like if you want these skins or if you want, like, same thing is going to be for ESO. If you want this mount or if you want this such and such, I'm sure that Xbox will love to take your money and give it to the people and be like, oh, hey, you can have such and such points and you could buy such and such thing.
Yeah,
may I also say that we've been doing that for fighting games, so I think it's not going to be too much of a problem.
Yeah.
You have
costume DLC.
You have been doing it for fighting games, but I think ESO and Smite are going to take it to a level that no other game has on the consoles before. It's going to be interesting to see how it reacts. And the reason I brought up Smite specifically is because MOBA's a well-established thing on PC, but Smite is the first one to make the jump to console that actually has the potential to work on console because of the third-person mechanic.
Yeah, I don't know. I've not seen, like, nobody plays MOBAs on console.
Flex position is overhead.
The overhead mechanics on console don't really work that well.
The only way they work is if you get a mouse and keyboard peripheral for your console, and at that point, you're on a PC.
Yeah.
I guess you could change it around a little bit, but
actually, can I just disagree with that? Because ever since the Dimecast, sorry, ever since the damn, I can't keep. What was the Sega console after the Saturn? The Dreamcast. That's why I said Dimecast. But ever since the Dreamcast came out, there have been MMOs on consoles. Phantasy Star Online, Final Fantasy 11. To name another one.
Final Fantasy 11 was on consoles?
Yeah,
it was.
But they also didn't have sub fees. There was no that you bought PSO and that was it.
We're talking mostly about microtransactions and sub fees.
But
first-person shooters and the like have been doing it on consoles for years. A 360 lived on DLCs.
Yeah, we're not talking about
DLCs.
DLCs.
Is different from
we're talking about
is also different.
We're talking straight up about the microtransactions that something like Smite does, which is skins or buying gems, or like ESO's going to do, buying crowns to get mounts.
Yeah,
and things.
but I think it's easier for them to actually do stuff like this because a lot of the kids that are playing, especially on consoles now, are more used to paying for extra things because of smartphones and smartphone transactions.
Yeah, I think it's
a lot of DLC, but
I think it's still going to be interesting to see how far it carries. Anyways, guys, we are like way over, and people have things that I know they want to do. Like Ranger, like I could see you like twitching towards your Destiny controller.
Destiny raid reset.
So,
do you need to put your IV drip in for Destiny?
Yeah, no, you can't. It's under the sweater. So.
Yeah,
right, okay.
she's
No,
got it already.
Fair enough.
So the next episode will be, like I said, this is an every 2 weeks thing, guys. The next show will be on the 5th. So I do a lot of streaming. Otherwise, so does Ranger and so does Lone. So you could follow
for the overworld tomorrow.
Yep, you could follow me. You could follow Sanitarium FM, and you could follow Yellow Ranger. All of us stream pretty regularly. We'll be back on the 5th. And who's taking us out tonight?
Me?
Good timing. Good timing.
All right.
Are we getting Shiba Cam for this? We're getting Shiba Cam for this.
Shiba Cam.
Yeah.
This is the Digmcast. I haven't done this in a while ago. Sorry.
Hold on, Shiba's not loaded.
Prepare the
Loaded?
voice.
Prepare your.
She's loaded
We are
already.
gonna keep Witcher hype in mind. Yes, give him grief. We plan on playing it. So, all right,
Yeah.
go Nico, go, and thank you for the follow.
This is the Digmcast with your hosts, Digmbot, Yellow Ranger, Lone Samurai, and like the Matrix. Also, Nico Kid Wolf, but fuck her. She's not that good.
No.
What the fuck?
Chiba's not liking it at all.
Shiba's not having this.
Lone
The next show is what?
The 5th of May.
The 5th of May. It's like my brother's birthday or something. A hoogie is a fork.
I will hire you.
Our next show, I don't know what it's gonna be about, but I promise it'll be great.
Bye, guys.
Fuck, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Oh my god, you're amazing.